skin dancers and soul masks, the myth of human-to-human shapeshifting. In the shadowed corridors of myth, metaphysics, and modern lore, a rare and unsettling archetype emerges. The human shapeshifter who does not become beast or spirit, but another human entirely. These beings, sometimes called mirror walkers, face thieves, or skin dancers, challenge our deepest assumptions about identity, authenticity, and the soul's signature. Unlike werewolves or selkies, these shapeshifters do not cross species boundaries. Instead, they shift from one human appearance to another, sometimes mimicking real individuals, sometimes adopting entirely fabricated personas. Their transformation is not merely physical. It often includes voice, mannerisms, and even emotional resonance. This archetype is not simply a curiosity of folklore. It is a metaphysical cipher, a psychological mirror, and a spiritual test. In folklore and speculative metaphysics, these beings appear in many guises. They are doppelganger spirits who impersonate loved ones to sow confusion or seduce. They are changeling agents in espionage tales, able to infiltrate institutions by becoming someone else. They are mythic deceivers, like Loki or Proteus, who use human disguise to manipulate fate. But in deeper metaphysical terms, they may represent something more profound: the fluidity of ego, the masks we wear, and the soul's ability to fragment, cloak, or adapt itself across timelines and densities. These beings are not just shape changers, they are identity challengers. They force us to confront the question, what is the essence of a person? Is it the face, the voice, the memories, or something deeper? Human shapeshifters often symbolize psychological and spiritual phenomena that are difficult to articulate in conventional terms. They embody identity trauma, the loss or distortion of self due to external control, abuse, or societal programming. In this sense, the shapeshifter is not evil, it is strategic. It reflects the human capacity to adapt, deceive, and protect. It also invites us to examine our own masks. Who do we become to be accepted, safe, or powerful? The shapeshifter also symbolizes survival adaptation, their ability to become what is needed to survive, especially in oppressive systems. This is not mere mimicry, it is a form of spiritual camouflage. A soul may hide its true frequency to avoid detection, often in hostile or deceptive environments. This is especially relevant in metaphysical traditions that speak of soul contracts, karmic entanglements, and multidimensional warfare. The central mystery of the human-to-human shapeshifter is this: if a being can become anyone, what are they when they are no one? 3 possibilities emerge. The first is the blank slate, a formless consciousness like a mirror, reflecting others but having no fixed identity. This suggests a being born of pure potential, unanchored to ego or lineage. It is a consciousness that exists to observe, to reflect, and perhaps to catalyze transformation in others. The second possibility is the core self, a hidden, radiant form that is never shown, perhaps too powerful, too vulnerable, or too sacred. The shapeshifting is a cloak to protect this essence. This echoes esoteric teachings about the divine spark, the true self, or the monadic core that remains untouched by incarnation. The third possibility is the fragmented soul, a being who has lost its original form through trauma or ritual, now wandering through borrowed identities in search of wholeness. This is a tragic but potent image, a soul shattered by experience, trying to reassemble itself through the lives of others. In esoteric traditions, this echoes the concept of the mask of God, where divinity hides in plain sight, wearing human faces to test, teach, or awaken. The shapeshifter becomes a divine trickster, a cosmic provocateur, a mirror that reveals not just the illusion of others, but the illusion within ourselves. If human-to-human shapeshifters exist beyond folklore, if they are not merely symbolic but ontologically real, then their abilities may extend far beyond mimicry. Many esoteric traditions and contactee reports suggest that these beings possess advanced psychic faculties and may originate from dimensions outside our own. They are not bound by linear time or conventional biology, but operate from a higher-order consciousness. Shapeshifters are often said to wield telepathy, the ability to read thoughts or implant suggestions. This is not just a parlor trick. It is a form of energetic intimacy, a way of bypassing language and entering the field of another's mind. They may also possess energetic mimicry, the ability to replicate a person's vibrational signature. This is more than appearance, it is the resonance of being. To mimic someone's energy, is to become them in the eyes of those who sense beyond the physical. Memory manipulation is another alleged capability, altering or erasing memories to maintain cover or influence perception. This intersects with theories of trauma-based mind control, where memory is not just a record but a battlefield. Remote viewing or bilocation, appearing in multiple places simultaneously, is also attributed to these beings. This suggests a consciousness that is not localized, but distributed, capable of operating across space and time. Several frameworks propose that these beings may be interdimensional walk-ins, consciousnesses from other realms entering human bodies to carry out missions. This concept is found in many spiritual traditions, from Tibetan tulkus to New Age starseeds. These walk-ins may be temporary or permanent, benevolent or manipulative. Another theory posits that they are fourth-density entities, fluid beings from higher vibrational planes, capable of manipulating matter and perception. In the language of the Law of One, fourth density is the realm of love and understanding, but also of strategic intervention. Hyperdimensional intelligence agents are another possibility, off-world operatives embedded in human society to steer development or destabilize. This merges metaphysics with conspiracy theory, suggesting that some shapeshifters are part of a cosmic intelligence network. Archetypal projections are a more psychological interpretation, manifestations of collective consciousness during times of identity crisis or spiritual awakening. In this view, the shapeshifter is not a being but a symbol, a dream figure that arises when the boundaries of self and other begin to dissolve. Among alien believers and ancient astronaut theorists, one of the most provocative claims is that human shapeshifters, especially those with psychic powers and elite influence, are descendants or incarnations of the Anunnaki. These beings, referenced in Sumerian texts, were said to be gods who descended from the heavens to shape human civilization. In Mesopotamian mythology, the Anunnaki were divine beings associated with creation, kingship, and judgment. Some texts describe them as sky gods who ruled from above, genetic engineers who created or modified humanity, and gatekeepers of knowledge, often linked to forbidden wisdom or spiritual control. Modern theorists reinterpret them as extraterrestrials, possibly from Nibiru or another hidden planet, who seeded human life and established hierarchical systems. Alien believers suggest that the Anunnaki possessed advanced psychic and technological abilities, including shapeshifting and mind control. They created bloodlines of rulers, embedding themselves in human institutions through hybrid offspring. They continue to operate through interdimensional cloaking, appearing human while maintaining alien consciousness. In this view, human-to-human shapeshifters are not anomalies, they are the continuation of an ancient program. Their ability to mimic, manipulate, and infiltrate is not just survival, it's domination. Some contactees and researchers claim that Anunnaki-descended shapeshifters carry unique DNA markers, often linked to Rh-negative blood types. They may also exhibit energetic distortions, detectable by empaths or psychics. Symbolic obsessions, such as serpents, pyramids, and solar deities, are said to be echoes of ancient control systems. These traits are said to manifest in elite families, intelligence operatives, and spiritual influencers, those who shape collective perception while hiding their true origins. In intelligence, lore, and conspiracy theory, human shapeshifters are often linked to black ops and psychic espionage, agents trained to mimic not just appearance but energetic signature. They may be involved in entity possession or walk-ins, souls entering bodies to influence events. Narrative control is another key theme. Public figures who may not be who they appear to be, used to destabilize or redirect perception. These stories point to a deeper truth. Identity can be weaponized, and discernment is a spiritual skill. The shapeshifter archetype forces us to confront the fragility of perception. In a world where faces can be borrowed and energies can be cloaked, the only reliable compass is inner clarity. To engage with the shapeshifter archetype is to ask, who am I beneath the masks? And how do I recognize truth in others? The shapeshifter invites us to question appearances, strengthen intuitive knowing, and reclaim our true form, not as a fixed identity, but as a sovereign frequency. This is not just a metaphysical exercise, it is a survival skill in a world of engineered confusion. Whether mythic, psychic, or interdimensional, the mirror walker archetype reminds us that in a world of shifting faces, the only true protection is inner clarity. It is a call to awaken, to discern, and to embody the truth that cannot be mimicked. In this light, the shapeshifter is not merely a deceiver, it is a revealer. It shows us where we are vulnerable to illusion, where we have outsourced our discernment, and where we have forgotten our own frequency. It is a test, a teacher, and a mirror. And like all true archetypes, it does not ask for belief, it asks for engagement. It asks us to look beyond the face, beyond the voice, beyond the story, and into the field of being. In doing so, we reclaim not just our identity, but our sovereignty. We become not just observers of the shapeshifter, we become masters of our own form. And in that mastery, the shapeshifter loses its power. For we no longer fear the mask, we understand it. This understanding marks a profound shift in consciousness. The shapeshifter archetype, once a symbol of deception and infiltration, becomes a gateway to self-realization. It teaches that identity is not static, that the soul is not confined to a single face or name, and that true power lies in the ability to navigate illusion without losing one's essence. In this way, the shapeshifter is not just a threat, it is a rite of passage. It forces us to confront the multiplicity within ourselves, the roles we play, the personas we adopt, and the truths we hide. It invites us to strip away the borrowed frequencies and return to the core vibration that cannot be imitated. This return is not easy. It requires discernment, spiritual discipline, and a willingness to face the shadow. It demands that we question not only others but ourselves. What parts of our identity are authentic, and what parts are constructs? What do we project to be accepted, and what do we suppress to avoid rejection? These questions are not merely psychological, they are metaphysical. They touch on the nature of soul fragmentation, karmic entanglement, and the architecture of consciousness itself. In many esoteric traditions, the journey of the soul involves a descent into illusion, followed by a return to truth. The shapeshifter archetype marks the midpoint of this journey, the place where illusion is most seductive and truth most obscured. It is the crossroads where the seeker must choose between comfort and clarity, between mimicry and mastery. And it is here that the most powerful spiritual tools are forged: intuition, resonance, and sovereignty. Intuition becomes the compass in a world of shifting appearances. It is the inner knowing that bypasses logic and detects frequency. Resonance becomes the language of truth, a vibrational signature that cannot be faked. Sovereignty becomes the shield, the ability to hold one's frequency regardless of external manipulation. These tools are not given, they are earned. They are cultivated through experience, through discernment, and through the willingness to face the shapeshifter not with fear, but with clarity. This clarity is not just personal, it is collective. In a world increasingly shaped by narrative control, identity politics, and psychological warfare, the ability to discern truth from illusion becomes a civic and spiritual responsibility. The shapeshifter archetype reminds us that institutions, leaders, and influencers may wear masks, not just metaphorically, but energetically. It urges us to look beyond the surface, to question the story, and to feel the frequency. It teaches that discernment is not paranoia, it is protection. And that sovereignty is not isolation, it is integration. Integration is the final gift of the shapeshifter. When we reclaim our true form, we do not reject the masks, we understand them. We see that every persona, every role, every disguise was part of the journey. We recognize that the shapeshifter lives within us, not as a deceiver, but as a teacher. It shows us the fluidity of self, the power of adaptation, and the sacredness of authenticity. It reveals that the soul is not a fixed point, it is a dynamic field. And that true awakening is not the rejection of illusion, but the mastery of it. In this mastery, we become mirror walkers ourselves, not to deceive but to reflect. We walk between worlds, between roles, between frequencies, carrying the light of discernment. We become protectors of truth, guardians of sovereignty, and architects of clarity. We no longer fear the shapeshifter, we embody its wisdom. And in doing so, we transform the archetype from a symbol of infiltration into a symbol of initiation. This transformation is not theoretical, it is practical. It applies to the way we engage with media, with institutions, with relationships, and with ourselves. It informs the way we teach, the way we lead, and the way we heal. It becomes a framework for empowerment, a way to navigate complexity without losing coherence. And it becomes a spiritual discipline, a way to hold frequency in a world of distortion. Ultimately, the human-to-human shapeshifter is not just a mythic anomaly, it is a mirror. It reflects the fluidity of identity, the power of perception, and the sacredness of discernment. It challenges us to see beyond the face, beyond the story, beyond the illusion, and into the essence. It invites us to reclaim our true form, not as a fixed identity, but as a sovereign frequency. And it reminds us that, in a world of shifting masks, the only true protection is inner clarity. This clarity is not passive, it is active. It is the light that cuts through deception, the resonance that reveals truth, and the sovereignty that cannot be mimicked. It is the essence of awakening, the foundation of empowerment, and the heart of spiritual protection. And it is the gift of the shapeshifter, not as a threat but as a teacher. Not as a deceiver but as a mirror. Not as an anomaly but as an archetype. In the end, the shapeshifter does not steal identity, it reveals it. It does not obscure truth, it tests it. And it does not fragment the soul, it challenges it to remember. To remember its essence, its frequency, and its power. To remember that beneath every mask, every role, and every illusion, there is a light that cannot be cloaked. A truth that cannot be mimicked. And a soul that cannot be stolen. That light is you. That truth is yours. And that soul is sovereign. In the presence of the shapeshifter, remember that. Ultimately, the human-to-human shapeshifter is not just a mythic anomaly, it is a mirror. It reflects the fluidity of identity, the power of perception, and the sacredness of discernment. It challenges us to see beyond the face, beyond the story, beyond the illusion, and into the essence. It invites us to reclaim our true form, not as a fixed identity, but as a sovereign frequency. And it reminds us that, in a world of shifting masks, the only true protection is inner clarity. This clarity is not passive, it is active. It is the light that cuts through deception, the resonance that reveals truth, and the sovereignty that cannot be mimicked. It is the essence of awakening, the foundation of empowerment, and the heart of spiritual protection. And it is the gift of the shapeshifter, not as a threat but as a teacher. Not as a deceiver but as a mirror. Not as an anomaly but as an archetype. In the end, the shapeshifter does not steal identity, it reveals it. It does not obscure truth, it tests it. And it does not fragment the soul, it challenges it to remember. To remember its essence, its frequency, and its power. To remember that beneath every mask, every role, and every illusion, there is a light that cannot be cloaked. A truth that cannot be mimicked. And a soul that cannot be stolen. In the end, maybe it is trick. Just multiple people wearing the same outfits on the same day, returning to the same home, and continuing the rest of a conversation you had with someone else.